Hi everyone, Angela here. In this video, I'll be making a denim patchwork pouch. I'll be engraving designs onto the fabric and showing you a different method of installing the zipper. I'm using a small rotating cutting mat and a 5-inch template with the non-slip grips on the back to cut out 12 squares. I'm using fusible batting with the glue dots on one side and cutting out 12 squares in the same size. For the center of the pouch, you'll also need 2 pieces of fabric and 2 pieces of batting measuring 2.5 inches by 14 inches. With the glue side up, place the wrong side of the fabric pieces on top of the batting and press together. Trim away any of the batting that's sticking out along the edges. With the long piece in the center, arrange 3 squares above and below in the pattern that you'd like. Then with right sides together, clip or pin just the sides of the squares together and repeat for the other side. I'm using a Brother NV50S sewing machine. The link for this and the tools I use can be found down in the description. Make sure to use coupon code NOTCHES NV50S for the special offer. Increase the stitch length to 3.5. Using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, stitch the 8 seams together, backtacking at the start and finish. If you're enjoying this video, you can help my channel by hitting like, subscribe, turn on all notifications, and leave a comment below. Separate all the seams and press flat. Place the top and bottom edges against the center piece, and if the center piece is a little bit long, just trim off the excess on the side. With right sides together, carefully line up the edges and clip or pin the top and bottom piece to the center piece, and repeat with the other side. Again, using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, sew each of these seams, backtacking at the start and finish. Make sure that the shorter seams stay open and flat. Have both seams facing towards the center, pull the fabric taut and press them flat. On one side, I'm going to add a design along the center and these 3 squares. On the other side, I'll add it along the center and these 3 squares. Put right sides together and line up all the edges. Use a spray can or a cup to draw small curves on the bottom corners. Then carefully cut them out. For the lining, I'm using quilting cotton. Trim away the selvage edges and then square off the bottom. Place one of the pieces on top to use as a pattern and then cut out 2 pieces of lining exactly the same size. On one side of the lining, mark out a 3-inch opening. Before adding my designs, I'll need to test out the laser on samples of the same fabric. I'm using the Xtool M1 to engrave the fabric designs. I run a test grid on each piece to decide which are the best settings before engraving the pouch. I'll have a more in-depth tutorial on how I did this test and added the designs with the software coming soon. Now, I didn't love the way the center piece turned out as it looks a bit too washed out for me, so I went ahead and changed that center piece to a different fabric so that it looks nice and sharp. Put right sides together and on one side line up the center seams. Pin exactly through the seams on both sides. This way the center pieces will stay lined up. Stitch the seam together and stop just before the curve. Clip or pin together if you need to. Use a 1/4 inch seam allowance and backtack at the start and finish. Make sure to keep the seams facing each other towards the center. Open up and press most of the seam flat. At the top, mark 1 inch in from each side. I'm using number 3 metallic zipper tape from Sweet Pea Embroidery. Measure 3 inches plus the total length across the top of the fabric and cut. It's about 29.5 inches long. Separate the zipper, bring the ends together to find the center, and make a mark on the back. Place the right side of the zipper with the teeth onto the fabric, matching that center mark with the seam, and clip in place. Match the rest of the zipper with the edge of the fabric and clip in place. At the sides, pin down the edge of the zipper tape at that 1-inch mark. Then pull down the end of the zipper to the sides and then clip it in place so that it's out of the way. Use a regular presser foot, stitch close to the edge to hold the zipper in place. There's no need to back tack. On the lining, place clips on the marks for the opening. Starting with a back tack, stitch to that first mark, back tack, skip over to the second mark, back tack again, and then back tack just before the curve. Open up and press the seam flat. Put right sides together, match the top edges and the center seams, and clip all across. This time stitch along the top with the left side of the foot running along the teeth. Back tack at the start and finish. Remove the clips from the ends and open up so that the seams and the lining are on the right. To edge stitch the lining, have the seam run along the inside edge of the foot. Hold the lining taut while you stitch. There's no need to back tack. Push in and hold the zipper ends out of the way, fold, match the seams, and pin in place. Match all the other seams and pin together. Push the pins right through the seams so that they'll match up perfectly. Then clip all around. Stitch all around, starting at the bottom corner of the lining. Continue from the previous stitch line, back tacking at the start and finish. Trim around both corners, being careful not to cut the stitching. Turn the bag right side out and then edge stitch the opening of the lining closed. Push the fabric into the lining and then press all around that top edge so that the fabric is away from the zipper teeth. Turn the pouch right side out, adjust the sides, push out the corners, and press all around. Next we have to add the slider onto the zipper tape. Hold the ends of the zipper tape evenly and then put a weight down on the pouch to keep it in place. If you need to, on one side, cut away about 1/2 inch of the zipper teeth. This makes it a little easier to add the slider. Insert the teeth, keeping the ends even, and pull the slider up. Make sure it looks even when it's closed, and then trim the tape ends evenly. For the zipper tab, I'm using a very lightweight denim. Cut a piece 2 inches wide by 2.5 inches long. Along the 2-inch side, center the zipper tape with teeth side down about 1/4 inch past the edge. We'll sew across the zipper tape 1/4 inch from the fabric edge. Fold down the piece so that the top of the fold is just a little bit higher than the stitching. Fold the fabric back so that right sides are together and the bottom fold is in line with the zipper tape. Hold this in place and fold the zipper down along the stitch line. Now fold the back edge down on top of the first fold, and then pin in place if you need to. On each side, stitch just beside the zipper tape, back tacking at the top and bottom. Trim the sides close to the stitching, flip over the top edge, turn over the rest of the fabric right side out, and then poke out the corners. Straighten out the back fold, flip over to the right side, and then edge stitch across the top, back tacking at each end. You can also edge stitch all around if you like. The way the zipper is installed, it's also really easy if you want to top stitch all around the outside of the pouch. This pouch measures 13 inches wide by 11 inches long and can easily fit my iPad Pro. Make sure to check out my channel and have a look at my other videos. Thanks again for watching. Take care and happy sewing.